When it says to graph, I don't care how you graph it. We discussed 2 different ways to do it. But make sure that you also do the second part of it. Tell me what transformations were made to the parent graph, the parent function. That was like half our lesson. And while we're thinking of it, oh, there, hold on. There we go. Should be fairly quick. Who's still going? On? All right. Okay. I know that TV's right behind your head. If you want to move over there for the test, I get it. Because no habla español math. Okay. All right, here we go. The transformations, nice and simple. We had a little cheater chart that says if I have a minus thing inside parentheses or brackets, inside the grouping is left, right. And if it says minus, because it's bass-ackwards land, we should have, big kid words, a horizontal translation right for. Remember, it's bass-ackwards land. Okay. The +2 on the outside of the grouping is going to be a vertical translation. And because it's outside the grouping, it's in regular land, so we will go up 2. That means my vertex that would have been right smack in the center of the graph, 0, 0, gets moved along with every single one of the points on the graph. Now I could have had the rest of the points on my graph and said you. I could just move all of these points right 4 up 2. And that was the way that we did it when we started with, here's the parent graph, now move it. But remember, I don't have to do that because we got a little cheater way to do these, where I said your vertex is at HK, 4, 2. Your slope on the right-hand side is always 1. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Or, mirrored to the other side, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. Connect the dots, try to hit the actual dots, don't suck, maybe use a straight edge. Alakazam, you got your graph. So, do you have now I'm going to say 1, 2, 3 for the combination of both transformations. And when I say 3, it's because did you get the horizontal or vertical correct? Did you get the right or left correct? Did you get the up or down correct? Okay? So horizontal or vertical, right or left, up or down. Then, did you actually put the vertex in the spot that you said? Was it a vertex? Was it a V instead of just a line? And then, is your slope actually 1 on both sides? Do you have points there to show that there's a slope of 1? Or did you just, here's my V, wing it? Okay, wing it, not good. Actual points, very good. Now I said that there's 2 ways to do this. This is the transformation way. It's the way that we spent most of our time talking about last time. The other way would be by table. Now again, you still have to have your transformations, but if you graphed by table, that is also okay. Where you would have put in numbers, and they should have been enough to actually see the entire graph. We know these are V's. That's the whole purpose of it. So if you only used points from, say, -3 to 3, well, all you're going to see is a line. We ran across that a few times and said, well, if all you see is a line, you have to go further to see the V. If you don't see a V, you got nothing. Okay? So if you had done instead a table of values, that is also okay. But either way, 3 for the transformations, 2 for the graph itself. Any questions about it? All right. Womp. For the past 4 days, the last 94 4.5 hours, I received zero contact from any student about this lesson until about 4 hours ago. And in the last 4 hours, all of a sudden now there's 6 different kids who say I'm not ready for the test. You see how if no one's asking a question, if no one's coming down during Spartan time, if we're not watching videos when we're gone, if we're asleep on the desk, I really have zero bit of feeling for I'm not ready for the test. Okay, that was a choice made. In fact, we had 2 who decided to just be gone this hour instead of take the test because I was going to make them take the test. Those are some life decisions right there. Speak now or forever hold your pieces. Is there anything about that homework that you did not get? Something that you think you did it, you want to double check that you did it right. You pretty sure it's this, but I need to make sure. Anything that was, I have no clue how to even start this. Yes, ma'am. Okay. 34, said, graph each of these, describe how the graph is related. Our little cheater chart that we had says, if I have x minus h plus k, something inside, something outside. If something is positive or negative, inside or outside, that absolute value grouping, if it's inside, bass-ackwards land. Plus means left, minus means right. If it's outside the grouping, plus means up, minus means down. And that's it. You could condense nearly the entire lesson to that. How is the graph related? I see a +2 inside my absolute value brackets. It's positive, it's inside. It heads left, left 2. I just got to use my big kid words and say horizontal translation, left 2. We got to get used to those words because if you don't know the vocabulary, you don't know what they're asking. What happens when, I don't know, on a test, maybe, you have something like, write the equation for the absolute value of x when translated vertically down 2 units and horizontally write 4 units. If you don't know what the words are, you have no idea what they're asking you. So yes, we know it goes left 2. Just make sure you use your big kid words. Now I'd said I'm also okay with us just saying horizontal translation left 2. I'm okay with that. But don't you forget what those H and T mean. Okay? I see a -1 outside the grouping. So it's negative and it's outside. Tells me it's headed negative, outside, it's moving down. Okay? So if it's headed down 1, then I use my big kid words and say vertical translation down 1 unit. Or we were cool with a little bit of cheater action and saying vertical translation down 1. That's okay. As long as you know what those words mean. Now when it comes time for today, for today's quiz, when you have to say this, I want to see you written, write it out. Show me that you actually know what those are. Okay, big kid words. Utters.
More of I messed up on the last 2 assignments. I flip-flopped the paper and the assignments. So I did 9, 10, 12 through 16 on 349 instead of 341.
So you did these numbers on that page and these numbers on that page?
I didn't even know the other morning was.
Did you still do about the 7-ish problems on both?
I have to do one of them still.
Okay. Sometimes that happens. You go a little cross-eyed. You still got practice on both, right? You got about the 7 problems worth of practice on both.
Yeah.
I'm cool. If it happens, it happens. Just write that on your paper. I accidentally did this one on this and this one on this. Then I know when I'm looking through it, like, where's your 34? Oh, brain fart. Gotcha. It happens. Okay. It's all about your relationship with your teacher determines what they're willing to do for you. If you're willing to have a conversation instead of just, oh wait, consequences are real now, give me something, then yeah, I'll work with you. So, 28. Are you up here? Nope. 28. Okay. So they gave us a parent graph of absolute value of x, but there's a negative in front of it. That just means there's going to be a negative in front of yours too. That's it. So look at your little cheater chart. If we're headed 15 units down, is that in the grouping or out of the grouping? Right? Inside, outside. Left, right versus up, down. So I know it's outside the grouping. And since it's 15 units down, outside the grouping, again, you look at that little cheater chart, right? Plus, minus, in, out. If I want to go 15 units down, that tells me to put a negative 15 outside my grouping. So it's just like before, I would have said this. Exact same thing, but because your parent graph had a negative on it, that means your answer does too. What that does is make a vertical reflection. It takes all of your V's and flops them upside down. Utters. Stellar conversation. Get your reviews out. We covered 4 sections. 5.5, 5.6, 5.7, 5.8. Starting with 5.5. Here, let's do this. Write the equation for a line in standard form with integer coefficients. Passes through the given points. We even had steps for these. Go back to section 5.5. Do you have the steps written? Do you know what standard form is? Or was that one of the videos that we decided not to watch because I wasn't in the room making you? Okay. Standard form, like a middle school dance. Boys over here, girls over there. AX plus BY equals C. So all your variable stuff is over here equals plain number. In order to get that, we got a couple of steps. Step 1. Every way that I know how to start an equation comes from find the slope first. That's always been our first step. So step 1 is find your slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you need to label x1, y1, x2, y2, you go right ahead and do it. So I'm going to say butt cheek minus butt cheek. Use your parentheses so we don't screw up our signs. I've seen you getting better about that recently. y2 is negative 5. x2 is, or y1 is 6. There we go. Words are hard. 9 minus negative 8 for x2 minus x1. Now, Be perfectly honest on all of these, to make sure that I don't put my own implicit bias into random number generation. For this, on the review, on the 3 forms of the test, I took a random number generator app on the calculator, 1 through 10, and then I flipped a coin to say negative or positive. Okay? So, I don't know what this is going to do. Negative 5 minus 6 is negative 11. Add the opposite. 9 plus 8 is 17. It's gross. Good thing we got a calculator that'll do fractions for us, or we remember how to work with denominators. Step 2. Step 2 was to plug into either, you have your choice now, y minus y1 is m by x minus x1, or y equals mx plus b, and solve for b. They each got their merits. There's a lot of kids who come through AlgHalf that don't like the first one because it's got parentheses and looks a little more complicated. So that's the con. The pro, well, if I plug stuff in, then I get to just rearrange things. Everything's in one spot and I don't have to remember anything. Y equals mx plus b. It's smaller, more condensed, less stuff to do. But then you have to remember at the end to take your slope and your y-intercept that you found and smack them together for your equation. Pros and cons. Which one you gonna do? Okay, then get rid of this other stuff so I got some room to write here. Negative 8, 6, 9, negative 5. U. All right. So you get your choice. In option 1, which set of points do you want to use? It doesn't matter. It really does not matter. Use the first one? Okay. So I have a y, I have an m, I have an x. I plug them in. Y minus 6 is slope negative 11 over 17 times x minus negative 8. Are you okay if I say plus 8 right now? Minus a negative 8 is plus 8. If you got a calculator, let the calculator do the heavy lifting for you. I'll distribute, getting big ugly, negative 11 17ths x minus 88 17ths. You're like, this is so gross. There's all this denominators and there's 17s and 17 is prime. I can't even reduce anything. Well, can you add 6 over using your calculator? Can you add 11 17ths x over and it just moves and changes signs? Can you multiply everything by 17 right now so you don't have to stare at big ugly numbers? Those are all legal options. Okay. In fact, I'm kind of a fan of that last one. Denominators are evil. We don't like them. Make them go away. Multiply the whole honkin' works by 17. Turns it into 17y minus 60, 42, 102 equals negative 11x minus 88. My 17s will cancel out on denominators. 17 times y is 17y. 17 times 6, 102. Pretty sure. Right? 60, 42, yeah. 17 times something 17ths, poof, denominator cancels. 17 times something 17ths, poof, denominator cancels. Now it's just a matter of I add my 11x over here, and I'll add my 102 over there. Because that cancels out, I got 11x plus 17y. That cancels out, I got negative 88 plus 102 is 14. And it comes out clean. which is the point. Integer coefficients means no fractions allowed. No decimals allowed. It's got to be all whole numbers, positive or negative. Option 2, the way that I do believe most of you preferred, was I've got an x, I've got a y, I've got an m, I plug them in and find b. I'll say 6 is negative 11/17 by negative 8 plus b. Let your calculator do the heavy mojo for you. Getting 6 is a positive 88/17 plus b. Subtract. Get b is, what's that, 660, 102, yeah, 14. Negative 14. Positive 14. The problem with that is you have to still put it in this form. You're still going to need to take your slope and your y-intercept oh, 14/17. There we go. I'm just so used to doing it this way. You're still going to have to multiply by your 17. You're still going to have to move stuff to the other side. Okay. I add this over. 11x plus y, 11/17 x, plus y is 14/17. And then you got to multiply the whole honking thing by 17 to get this. You don't need all of that. You need your slope and then either one of those. It depends on which you prefer. You want everything in one spot, so all you got to do is rearrange it? Or do you want to work with fewer things now, but you have to put the pieces back together later? It is your choice. What does parallel mean? Never going to connect, right? Train tracks. What does it mean algebraically? What do you know about the two lines? Their equations. Same slope. The only way I'm going to get same slope is if I find the slope of this guy. So, rearrange it. Suppose we'll go old color code on here. Even more so. Some of us preferred having that little line down the middle. Getting negative 3y, because there is still a negative there, is negative 5x plus 9. If I divide everything by that negative 3, the only thing that I'm going to care about here, negative 5 over negative 3 is 5/3. 9 divided by negative 3 is minus 3. The only thing that I care about is they said parallel. Parallel means same slope. Here's my slope. 5/3 is parallel to 5/3. They have to stay the same. So I now know my slope. I know my slope, I know my point. Go get slope-intercept form of the equation. Again, your choice, where you can option A, y minus y1 is m x minus x1, so plus 6. Distribute and rearrange. Five thirds times 6. Remember, they reduce. 6 over 3 is 2 over 1, turning into plus 10. Add 2 over. I'm done. Option 2, the way that most of you preferred, so I say y is mx plus b. I got a y, I got an m, I got an x. Go find b. Take negative 5/3 times 6, negative 10. Add it over. B is 12. Are you going to remember to put 2 and 2 together at the end, though? Slope, y-intercept. I don't know why there's a squiggle down there. Okay. So what's in the middle? You're going to need to do that. You're going to have to get the slope. No, you cannot just look at whatever's in front of x unless it's in slope-intercept form. You have to get the slope. I'll tell you right now, number 2 on all forms of the test, it starts in standard form. You're going to have to rearrange it. Okay? Rearrange it into what you know, get the slope, use it. Round 3 is perpendicular. So remind me what perpendicular means. Say I had like 5 halves. You change the sign and flip it. Negative reciprocals is the big kid words for it. Okay? So I have to find a perpendicular slope, but this time I don't have to worry about an equation, they give me a graph. So I go find 2 nice points that this thing goes through. Should look familiar for some of you. This was on our review last time. I just pulled that equation off of here. Watch your scale. How far did it go down? Down to, see, 2, 4, 6, 8. Watch your scale. Down to, so negative 2, and it ran to the right, 2, 4, 6. So if I want the equation perpendicular to that, flip it and change your sign. Positive 3. It says, go through the point 2, negative 3, be perpendicular to this. So I just found my slope. I got a y. I got an m. I got an x. Go find b. Multiply. Subtract. Move on to the next page. Get one off. Put the pieces together if you're going to use this method. Do I have an equation in slope-intercept form yet? I got the pieces for it. I don't have the equation itself. I've got b. I've got m. I plug them together. And y is 3x minus 9. No idea how it's going to work out. Might have a fraction. Might be positive, might be negative, I don't know. I just took a screenshot of any graph that I could find. So 5-5 was standard form. 5-6, which we spent 2 days on, notice 2 questions, was parallel perpendicular lines. Flip it over to the back, you notice there's only 2 instead of 3 questions. That's because one of them is just really big. This was our trend lines. Trend lines was basically blah, blah, blah word problem, right? You have to find an appropriate scale for this. Here, all right. So Table shows predicted annual cost of a middle-income family to raise a child from birth until adulthood. And this is very, very not accurate anymore. Not even close. Kids are expensive. But draw a scatter plot. Describe the relationship that exists in the data. Go find an equation for it. So if I want a scatter plot that shows children's ages 3 through 15 at a minimum, and I got 10 boxes to work with, what's reasonable? Ooh, could I just go by threes? Because then it's right there on the line, right? Could I go by twos? That would fit everything. So you got a choice to make. I like the idea of threes. I was actually about to go by twos, but threes is better because they're right there on the line, easier to plot. So I'm going to say children's age. Yeah. Child age 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Okay. On the top, kind of combining a few skills here. I need to go from, at least, I can go past this, 10,700 up to 16,700. What do you think? The lightning bolt, right? Break it up. Break it up and say, I don't want to start at 0. I'm going to start my graph at, where do you want to start? Just start at 10,000? Now, I could start at 10,700 if I wanted. I can start at 10,512 and 26 cents. You can start wherever you want. I do like the idea of 10,000 though. And I like even better the idea of just putting 10, because what can I write on the side? In thousands, right? So I'm going to say annual cost, and I'll put 10 or in thousands. So 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Right? Nice and easy just going by thousands. That might not be what you chose. From 10,700 to 16,700, that's 6,000. I have 10 boxes. Could I have just started at 10,700 and then done 600 every box? Yeah. But don't overcomplicate it if you don't need to. Yes, ma'am.
Are we going by thousands or thousands?
What if I do 10,000 like that? If I say 10 thousands, what's 10,000 times 10? 100,000. Oh, nope, nope. That'll probably be when you have kids. But if I say 1,000 times 10, that's 10,000. 1,000 times 11, that's 11,000. Okay? That's a good thing to question to make sure that your scale makes sense. Plot points. See, 3, 10, 7, 6, 11, 7, 9, 12, 6, 12, 15, 15, 16, 7. Okay? Do you have a straight edge? At a bare minimum, you should have, I've seen a couple of you using like the edge of your calculator, your permit, your school ID, your Dairy Queen gift card, whatever it is. If you try to put a line through all 5 of those dots, it does not work. So we have to do what is called a trend line. The trend line had 3 rules. 1, go through 2 points. At a minimum, you want to go through 2 points, because those are what you're going to use to make your line equation. 2, I kind of want to go down the middle and have the general trend or slope. And 3, if I can have the same number of points on either side of the line, then that will help that I'm down the middle of my data. Okay, so those were the 3 things to keep in mind as you make a trend line. I'm gonna say if I kind of shoot through, because this one was a little bit off. Here's my line. If I wiggle it a little bit, So I ended up going through this point, which is 6, 11, 700, and this point at the end, which was 15, 16, 700. Those are the points I went through. Doesn't have to be the points you went through. When I grade these, I'm going to have probably 5 or 6 different equations, most commonly cited, off to the side of my key. Better yet, I'll probably have the line of best fit regression equation. I'll just see if you're close and you got the work to back it up. So, find your slope, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. I get 5,000 over 9. Works for me. If yours ends up some terminating decimal or some really, really nasty decimal, I'm okay with it if you go out to 3 places on this problem specifically. Well, I've got a slope. I've got 2 points to work with. I'll just choose the smaller one. Go make yourself an equation. Most of you were all about that y equals mx plus b life, so 11,700. There's my y, that's a 7,000. Is m x plus b. I don't like that the 6's and the b's look too much alike. I'll make a big B. Multiply. 5,000 times 6 is 30,000 over 9 plus b, which can be reduced. Both are divisible by 3. I could call that 10,000 over 3. Subtract. Let the calculator do the heavy lifting for you. 11,700 minus 10,000 over 3 is, what's that, 33,003, 2,100, 35,100 minus 10,000 is 25,100. Someone check my math. I don't trust myself. It was a long weekend. And not the good kind. Y'all got a calculator, or you should have a calculator. That's got fraction mode. Okay. So I've got B, I've got M. Write your equation. Y is, now I have 5,000 over 9x plus 25,100 over 3. Get that calculator out. 5,000 divided by 3. 25,1 divided by 3. If you instead of this have y is about 1666.667 x plus 8366.667, I'll take that because it's going to be, we're going to have different answers here. Yes?
Shouldn't it be divided by 9?
Was it? Ah, crap. Yeah, it is. Got him. Okay. So that divided by another 3. If you have the decimal version of these, yes, divided by 9, that's wrong. If you got the decimal version, I'm okay because I'm going to just compare that that's pretty close to what I have. Starting just keeping it in my pocket so I don't have to keep hunting around. Well, but hey, you're doing better than last semester. It took them all the way until, what, like a week before finals to finally get their brownies? And then, the last one is what we just finished up on. Y'all, please put your cheater chart on there. Tell yourself, absolute value of x is my parent function. If I am positive or negative, inside or outside that absolute value, it's going to do these things. Positive inside is bass-ackwards land, I'll go left. Negative inside is bass-ackwards land, I'll go right. If it's outside, up and down, regular land. So if you've got that, they're saying this was your parent graph. You did stuff to it to make this. What 2 things did we do? Okay, but can we use our big kid words? I'm looking for the words horizontal or vertical translation. Okay, we're going to use our big kid words. Sorry, I keep saying that. I got a 4-year-old. Well, both of my kids have gone through and are now in speech. So we always say, like, you got to use your big kid words, not your little boy words, right? So, -3 inside. Okay, but what goes in front of that? What words? Remember horizontal, the horizon? Vertical is a good vertical is jumping straight up and down. So I'll say there's a horizontal translation. On the quiz, I want us writing it out because I want to make sure you're actually knowing what those mean. Okay. Moving forward, yeah, fine, I don't care. Today, I care. So horizontal translation. If your spelling's not the greatest, it's okay, as long as I can tell what word it is. And we are, yes, going right 3. My +2 on the outside. Positive outside, I'm headed up. So I'll use my vertical translation. Up 2, or U2. I don't like putting U2 because that's banned. Grew up with them. No? Anyone? Bono? Yeah, I feel older and older every day. It's become a meme in Game Club. Make Sullivan feel old. So I will move my vertex that would have been right there in the middle. It's going to go right 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2. And from there, my slope on the right-hand side is always 1. Up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. Or mirror it, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1. Connect the dots, make your V. Okay? If you want to go a little bit off-road to show more of your V, that's okay. You are going to have 38 minutes and more if you want to stay after, if you're running a little slow. I don't have to be anywhere today. Plenty of time.